I would like to share an important observation in my practice that more kids we are diagnosing to have a refractive error. Of them, we can see myopia or short-sightedness, hypermetropia or far-sightedness, astigmatism and compound astigmatism.
Now this is a very common thing, and it's become more common in the last about 15-20 years. Earlier, 20 years ago, perhaps 1 in 100 children would have a significant refractive error, myopia, the most commonest one. But today in urban areas, almost 10 to 14% of children have a significant myopia.
The causes of refractive errors are multifactorial. There can be genetic causes as well as environmental causes. You cannot do much about genetic causes, but yes, environmental factors we can definitely modify.
So the more near work you do, the more likely that your myopia will progress. So obviously, people who are bookish, who spend a lot of their times on the iPad or the mobile or the laptops, are more likely to have myopia than somebody who plays outside for a long time.
Many of the kids who have passed out from neonatal ICUs or those who have family history of myopia are more prone to have refractive errors. There are specific questions we usually ask to the parents, like whether the child goes very near to the TV to watch, or in school also does he go very near to the blackboard or whiteboard, or whether the teacher complains that the child is not copying properly.
Is this child able to see well even when the child sits at the end of the class, which happens for a lot of tall children? Does he use a lot of near work? I mean, does he sit on the mobile for a very long time?
Another important observation we ask whether the child shifts his head like this, or does he squint while watching TV or while going in the school, while watching the blackboard. These are the specific questions we usually ask. In fact, the problems faced in urban setting and a rural setting are different. In urban setting, a typical example is parents come with their child, usually the only child and a protected child, and when they are told that the child is having refractive error, the reactions can vary. Right from the mother starts crying, or sometimes they just deny that the child is having problem. Whereas in rural settings, the main problem with the parents is getting the child to the hospital to get it checked. And even if it is diagnosed to have refractive errors, it's very difficult to persuade them to use glasses.
The second problem that we have is many times the parents are not willing to accept that their child has a refractive error, that their child needs specs. And of course, many a times we write the prescription, and then 6 months or a year down the line, the parents come again and the child has never had specs. Either they have never purchased it for him, or even if it has been purchased, nobody has actively encouraged the child to wear specs because they think that, perhaps it may be bad for his eyes.
So in either case, the doctor needs to be very compassionate. The child as well as parents require counseling, and we need to give them glasses as well as adopt the treatment so that we can prevent future complications like squint and amblyopia and scholastic backwardness.
One is we recommend to our fellow healthcare providers is if they see a child, and it's the pediatricians, the general practitioners, sometimes the optometrists, who get to see the children first before they come to us. Anytime they suspect that this child, or even neurologists, they suspect that this child does not have good vision, is to refer him to an ophthalmologist, an eye doctor, as soon as possible.
So usually we advise our eye care professionals or other colleagues that these kids need to be checked differently. We use cycloplegic drops, or the drops, specific drops, which relax the ciliary muscles so that we can find out their exact refractive error so as to prevent other complications like squint and amblyopia.
Another thing, many a times a visual deficit is missed because one eye the child is able to see well and other eye has a problem. So it's only when the good eye is covered that the child suddenly, can see very less or cannot see at all. So in a baby's case, if one eye is closed and the baby gets very fidgety or becomes very distressed, that means the other eye has very poor vision.
If the child is having some abnormal head posture, he is tilting his head or pushing his head or going very near to the TV while watching TV, the child should be taken to the doctor, preferably an eye care professional, so that if at all he is having some refractive error, it gets corrected. Secondly, if a child is say 1 year old or 2 year old and he doesn't have any eye problem, But whether the eyes of that child should be checked or not, considering the elder son or the elder daughter as having refractive error.
As children go older, their specs number keeps on changing. So ideally, an annual checkup is a must, perhaps a 6-monthly checkup if the difference is very high.
Second important thing is you should not have a wishful thinking that when the child grows old, the squint is going to go away or the refractive errors are going to become less. No. If at all some refractive errors are there, we need to give the child glasses, and the child should wear the glasses for the appropriate time which your eye care professional will tell you.
It will greatly help if the parents and the caregivers have a positive attitude towards specs. Many a times the grandparents or parents say, oh, let him be 18 and we'll do a laser surgery and knock off his number, or we'll give him contact lenses, or he looks awful in specs. Oh, why does my child have only specs? If a child overhears that, the child believes that either there is something wrong with him or there is something wrong with his eyes because specs have been given. Now it's an optical aid that is given for them to see better. There is nothing to be ashamed about it.
The dictum is catch them young. If at all we find the refractive errors, they should be corrected then and there, as well as there should be a good follow-up, and make sure the children use these glasses for appropriate time so as to prevent complications.